So let's talk about the trip to Gunnison.
That was a really nice day.
Trucks rumbling, coffee in hand, had a plan, yeah. This was the plan. We're rolling into the story, winging it naturally. A little bit of chaos, a little bit of wait and see. If it all goes sideways, yeah, that's where we shine. Oh yeah, so buckle up, hang on, you're riding this ride with me.
Let's talk about the trip into that area first.
Yeah.
We started in Walsenburg, Colorado.
Right, and that was the Love's campground, right? Okay.
That we stayed at a Love's, and we got some of the most gorgeous sunset pictures that night.
Right.
In a basically truck stop parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I would stay at that Love's again because the vista views of,
Right.
I think they're planes coming off of the Rockies, were incredible. And then there were beautiful pictures of the mountains.
Right.
If we back up a little bit, we chose to go to Walsenburg to go into Gunnison because we had two choices. We could go into Pueblo from Goodland, Kansas, and stay on 50, but that would put us through Monarch Pass.
Right.
Okay, Monarch Pass is very high. I want to say it tops out at over 12,000 feet, and also has some, from what we understand, some brutal switchbacks at steep grade. So not that we can't drive it, we drove it going back and forth to Alaska, you know.
Just
We didn't really want to. And anytime we do high altitude changing, it takes me a little bit longer to assimilate because I'm asthmatic.
right.
So we decided we wanted to go through the lower pass, which is the North Pass, I think is what it's called. And it's Route 114 out of Alamosa. So you can actually go up to 114 and go across North Pass, or you can go up, I think it's 149 up and still do Monarch Pass from Alamosa. We chose to go
Right.
the lower route, which is only about 1,000 feet difference in elevation.
But
yeah.
It's different steepness getting up there and
Yes.
different grade length, right?
Yes.
And for a heavy truck
And a heavy trailer.
and a long trailer,
Yeah.
right? And I'm very glad we did the one we did because it was gorgeous.
It was gorgeous. It was gorgeous. And there's the other reason that we decided to not go to Pueblo is that when we were going, the Aspen Acres fire was still not contained. We decided to go behind the mountain that was on fire and not directly next to the fire.
Right.
So that was the other reason, was kind of threading our way through the Aspen Acre fire, the Elk fire, and the Uruguay fires
Right.
that were all burning the day that we drove up.
Yeah. So we left Walsenburg. It was hot.
So
Right.
that's the story of this whole trip. It was hot.
It was hot at 11, and we were pretty high up. I think we started the day at like close to 5,000 or 6,000 feet.
I'd have to look up the elevation, but it was higher than what either one of us thought it was going to be.
Right, and that ended up playing a part later because it was so hot. So we started off, and the first part of the drive is plainish, and it's a gradual kind of elevation change.
Until you get to the first pass, which is not that high.
Right.
Coming after you pass La Vita, you go into a pass that's probably only 5,000 or 6,000 feet, and it's the foothills of the Rockies. And then you go over that mountain into the valley that
Right.
Alamosa is in. And that was nothing. I mean, we did stop on the way up, but it was more because we tow our restroom behind us than to really stop for any good reason.
It was opportunistic. The truck
Yes.
was heating, and we were worried about temperature on tires. That was the thing, right? Is that
It was the tire
it was-
temperature
it was
that
the
was
tires
getting
that
us.
were really hot.
What do you think, Daisy? I'm just not sure about how the goose sounds.
So we had to stop a couple of times on the trip. I think overall the trip was supposed to be 4.5, 5 hours, and it took us
six,
yeah, or maybe a
six
little.
and a half, maybe.
The truck was substantially hot because it was hot and the elevation, so there's less air
Yeah.
to do heat. So just take your time, right?
Yeah.
Is what it is. And then so we got through Alamosa, neat little town. The
I would
planes
like
were
to stay
cool.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw when we had been doing the planning to get in there, one of the options of the route Angela had us staying at that one of those campgrounds on the plains.
Right. It was. I don't remember which one it was. There is a KOA there, but it wasn't a KOA. Which you know us, we seem to like our KOAs a lot. I'll have to look, and we'll put the name of it on here. But there was base camp. It was called base camp.
That's right.
Which I was interested in doing because we could have, if we'd come in early enough the day before, we could have gone to Great Sand Dunes National
right.
Park.
Right.
I think it's Great Sand Dunes, which we didn't do this trip because we were kind of pushing to get to our campground up in Gunnison because my family was heading up to visit us.
You know, that seems to be a common theme of we're pushing to get somewhere rather than taking it slow.
So we did this so that we could take our time and see the country and really enjoy it. That really has not
happened.
been our world. We're trying to make it, but yeah.
So we get through the plateau, the
The valley? Yeah.
and then you start up into the pass.
It took us almost an hour, a lot longer than I thought it was going to from Alamosa to get there.
Right.
And then when you leave that, you go up a little bit and you stay at that level
Right.
for probably 5 miles. I want to say it's 62 miles from that town to Gunnison. And probably the first 8 miles, you're pretty level
Right.
at probably about 2,500 feet. I mean, you're higher than you think you are because you're in the Rockies at that point. And you're about to go through a continental divide pass.
Right.
So you're going to have to get up there to do that. But yeah, it was beautiful. Have beautiful pictures of the mountains. It was
Right.
gorgeous.
And then you hit the going up into the pass, and that's a pretty constant, pretty even grade. 2.5% was pretty consistent, and then you get right to the very end of it, and there's a good last couple of miles that's a pretty significant, like 6 or 7%.
Yeah, and you know you're going to get there because you get to a chain up area.
Right. And the chain up area is one of the last places to stop, although we didn't know it, but on both sides of the crest of the mountain, there's a pull off.
There's a chain up area on both sides, and then there's actually an area that was big enough for our rig to pull into at the very top of the mountain too, at the Continental Divide, which we did not pull off there.
Right.
And there's, the sign for the Continental Divide and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we didn't stop. We just kept pushing at that point.
So the truck we ended up stopping on the way up of that
At the chain off,
at the chain off because it was the truck was pretty hot, and we let it cool off for a bit.
Yeah.
Then we started going down the other side. That downgrade was the one I was worried about because you had talked about it was more steep going down the other side.
Yeah, it said it was 6% going down and I think 5.5% going up.
So the pass itself wasn't much of a problem. What got really technical and really interesting is that when we got kind of down out of the really steep part, down towards the river basin, and we're following the river,
Yeah.
there are just one really technical curve after another. And what gets your attention is that you come into these sections and there's this tiny little sign. It's not very big, but boy is it important, because it says truckers, tighter turns ahead.
Yeah.
And when they say tight turns,
And it's like next 12 miles. It's the last 12 miles you're on it.
Yeah.
There are hairpin S curves going back and forth throughout this valley
right.
next to the river.
And we were fortunate on the day that we were traveling. I think we came in. We
was
came
like
in on a
Saturday.
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, we came in on a Sunday, and we were worried about getting a bunch of sightseers, so we tried to get up really early in the morning and get started. And it wasn't too bad, but there are lots of times that I got to the point that it's definitely a two-person drive, and Angela was either watching out the back, make sure I didn't go off the edge of the road, because the shoulder was a 6-inch drop to an erosion side of the road, and then beyond that
Was another drop.
was a big drop, right, on some of them. But so she was either watching back there or watching up front,
Yeah.
so that I could start taking my half out of the middle, because there were S-turns that we were longer than the radius of the S-turn, right? So there was no way that we were going to follow that without cutting through the middle.
This is a pretty heavy trucker route during the
Yeah.
week, from what I understand. So if you're going to be driving this road, 114, right? You need to be careful going into that, even if you're just driving a car, because if there's a semi coming towards you, they will be taking part of the center of the road
Right.
until they see you. So definitely a two-person.
Yeah. And some of these speed limits drop to 25 miles an hour for cars,
Yeah.
right? Which means that, as a oversized truck, we should be going 5 miles or more below the speed limit, right? So
Yeah.
we were taking some of these turns at 15, 20 miles an hour for miles at a time. So that's the road. But we didn't get a chance to look at the scenery very much, but going back and looking at the camera footage we have.
The valley was gorgeous when you're next to the lake and all the
Yeah.
I got to see more of the pine trees and around the river and stuff than Matt did. And the river was running while we were there, which was not really the story of us being in Colorado.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
several times when you and I looked up from whatever was going on, said this really feels like going into the Bridal Falls area, going into
Yeah.
Valdez, right? Really high
Thompson Pass.
canyons, tight little turns, just expecting waterfalls. We didn't see any waterfalls.
I didn't see any waterfalls.
But there was a little river there. So it kind of was a neat little reminder of, it brought a lot of
Alaska.
memories back from last year.
Yeah. And my
Right.
sister, when she drove in, she's like, "Oh, that pass reminded us both of the Tyrol of
Right.
Europe, right? Because
Right.
that's where we grew up." So, yeah, it was beautiful.
And then all of a sudden you come out of one of these S switchbacks and
And
there's
you're-
a straight road for 2 miles, and then you tee into a 4-lane intersection with a stop sign.
Yeah, and you're back in the desert ish.
And you're back in the
arid
desert.
climate.
And then you take a left and you head into the towns leading into Gunnison, and then the other side.
I think it's just Gunnison.
Yeah.
Gunnison is a good sized town. I mean, it's not huge by any means, but there's a Walmart, not a super Walmart. Don't think you're ordering groceries there. There's a Walmart, a Safeway, and something called a City Market, which is the same company as Safeway. They're both Kroger grocery
Right.
stores. So your choice is one of the two Kroger grocery stores for groceries, and they do have a Walmart, a Tractor Supply, an Ace Hardware,
And
and a really good hospital, which we'll talk about later.
and then they have a college. It's a college town.
Yeah, Western Colorado University is there.
Which means we had some really good pizza. We found some hamburgers in a gas station,
Yeah,
in a
that
refurbished
were
gas
really
station
good.
that were really good. And we had some pretty decent food. So one of the things that I hadn't remembered or didn't recognize was that the Gunnison campground is far enough out of town that there's no cellular service. And
Yeah.
so, being that we have Starlink and we're constantly running it, we just switched our phones over. But that fact
into
becomes
play.
important really later in the trip. But to understand why that fact becomes important,
You're gonna have to watch next week's video.
you're going to have to watch over the next couple of weeks to see what happens.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, we really needed cellular coverage and didn't have it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, enjoy the videos. I think the rest of this is just some photos.
Yeah.
Um,
So, and we did stay at Thousand Trails Blue Mesa Recreational Ranch.
right.
It's about 10 miles west of the town of Gunnison. They have lots of amenities there that we didn't use.
Right.
And I really liked it.
I did too.
Yeah, so we'll show you some pictures of there too, if we have some. I wasn't really good about getting my camera out as much as I probably should have.
Yep. But
But yeah.
anyway, if you like content like this, subscribe and a like would mean a lot to us as a small channel. And make sure you come back next week to see our trip to the actual national park.
Yep, Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park.
And we went to Crested Butte and a couple of other things in town, and get some great scenery. So
See you next week.
I've been so many places, I've seen them all with open eyes. Seen islands, open spaces, Serengeti sun slowly rise. All these memories, I hold them near me when I sail the Aegean Sea. But there's one place for me. Take me to the place where I come from, the only place where I really belong. Take me 'cause this voyage seems so long. Back to you. Ooh. Back to you.